You can always know we're in the last good moments of a month when mobile games actually come in smaller batches. It's what it is, and for what it's worth, we went on and digged out the best ones as always, and here's over 15 new games you must try whenever you can. I'm gonna go ahead and hit number 1 today with a new bus sim game, because we've had none better than this whole 2025. First of all, it's Bus Sim Pro, basically what happens when you decide to be a bus driver in New York City instead of just screaming at traffic like a normal person. You've got realistic physics, articulated in double-decker buses, and interiors actually so detailed that you're going to be adjusting the mirrors just for fun. Pick up passengers at the timetable, dodge, survive traffics. You can play solo missions or hop in a multiplayer to see who's the true king of the freak show. And on top of that, it's got weather changes like traffic rules and ranking that add actual stakes. It's a good game about 1 GB in size. Now, one of my favorite games this whole 2025 was something that came out just today. A game called My Child's New Beginnings, which is like the, emotional damage version of a parenting sim, basically what this whole thing is. You adopt a couple of kids and try to guide them through everyday life while undoing the mess left by past trauma that you've caused. It's slow, personal, and more about conversations than gameplay, but that's kind of the point here, where you're shaping a kid's future one small choice at a time. You'll comfort them during panic attacks, push them towards friendship, and try to make a home that actually feels safe. Real, heavy, and definitely not your typical casual mobile game. Coming in at number 3, we have the game Hillside Delivery, the kind of chill but also no-nonsense dangerous hell climber that turns every delivery into a mini adventure. Like, you're not just driving, you're babysitting cargoes like it's made of glass, logs, steel, crates, whatever the job basically is. The physics demand actual focus and every bump feels personal. Upgrades matter, a stronger engine, better suspension or grippier tires can completely change how your rig handles stuff. Different trucks, trailers to keep things interesting, and the low poly visuals do make the whole grind feel amazing. Simple game, tough routes, and it's tense for sure. It's free. Dead River actually throws you into the kind of apocalypse your nightmares warned you about when, COVID hit us. Like, you are a stranded soldier stuck near a quarantine riverside, and every shot, step, or noise could be your last. The game actually blends first-person shooting action with legit RPG elements, like you're gonna be scavenging cabins, loot cars, and fight zombies that actually get smaller than the longer you survive. You can actually team up with survivors who may or may not stab you in the back later on, upgrade, craft, and choose when to sneak or, go loud. It's a very tense game and the kind of survival ground that makes your work breaks worth it. Alright, who's been around here long enough to know about Zoorama? The second game actually just came out. It's definitely another better, goofy little mix of just biking, brawling, and trolling people for points, all wrapped in loud Brazilian meme energy. Think of it as Grand Theft Auto side missions, but everyone refuses to take anything seriously. You deliver pizzas, upgrade bikes, slightly less cheaper bikes, and bully people all while, having fun. Short, stupid fun in the best way. If you just want something light and messy to play between big games, this one works. Basically what happens when a delivery guy gets tired of real life, is what it is.
There's beasties to shoot and work to be done.
Oh, some of you were, I was also pretty pissed over Deep Rock Galactic's performance. You'll be happy to know that developers actually fixed basically about 95% of the game's bugs with a huge update. And we've already, of course, mentioned this game before, not much to talk here, except that this is a arcade roguelike action classic where instead of, the usual co-op, it's a solo game. Your weapons fire automatically and you just aim and pick up what's left as currency to upgrade the living dog out of your weapons. It's not entirely a RPG, but rather a arcade roguelike. It's right up there with games as good as Diablo, and the whole thing's even less than a gigabyte in size. Play for free, it's got a premium version with no ads as well. On the other hand, we have Haven, Roomscape, which is exactly just what it says on the tin. You wake up somewhere unfamiliar, the exit's missing, and your only options are to poke around, gather clues, and just solve puzzles. It's a pretty slow burn, calmscape experience. Nothing jumps at you, just subtle discomfort and a quiet sense that you just shouldn't be here. Puzzles are pretty classic, fair, the graphics are pleasant, and the ambient soundtrack does most of the tension work. If you like tapping around, thinking and feeling smart for about 20 minutes, this is a pretty solid bite-sized escape room fix. On the other foot, we're not gonna say hands anymore, we've got the game Excavator City Builder, which is just one of those games where you spend half the time digging dirt and the other half wondering why it's actually so damn satisfying. Here you hop between excavators, cranes, dump trucks, and whatever else the job site throws at you, doing simple tasks like moving rocks, loading sand, and fixing up broken city different corners. It's not flashy, but the controls and physics are solid enough that scooping dirt feels legit. If you like slow, steady, operate heavy machinery without a license gameplay, this actually scratches that itch pretty good. It's basically therapy for people who enjoy constructions. Alright, look, Crystal Commanders is one of those rare virtual reality born real-time strategy games that actually somehow lands on mobile without losing no spark. It's a strategy game, like I said, where you're grabbing these little units with your own hands, or at least it feels that way, just now without the headset sweat. You build, defend, and slam down towers in real time that feel uniquely physical, even on a touchscreen. The campaign actually goes surprisingly hard. It's got a fully voiced story that keeps the energy high, and if you're confident in your base building ego, the one-on-one mode will absolutely put it to shame. Smart, punchy, and way more intense than it looks here. Hellmade Manifest is probably your typical post-apocalyptic nightmare, but like with more personal baggage. It's a horror mix of first-person and a mobile adventure where you wander around streets, sewers, and abandoned buildings while dealing with all kinds of hazards. It's more on the slow side, but it's pretty tense and just the right feel and level of creepy without overdoing jump scares. Not the most polished horror game, of course, but it definitely is a sweet spot. In fact, it's got a decent story, good environments, not all fighting, but also stealth, and just a good dose of missions and chapters to go with it. Cabal Ritz finally landed on mobile after like 4 years of hype. And it's kind of almost exactly what we hoped it would be. It's flashy, combo heavy, like quests, mini missions, and story threads. It's a good Diablo-style action RPG, but also a tad elements of cyberpunk with it. The combat's fast, combos are good, and the skills make you feel like a proper hero, even if half your playtime is just button mashing. The thing is though, if you love the old Cabal grind, this is basically a nostalgia-fueled adrenaline hit in your pocket. It's already a hit in Korea, now it's available worldwide. It's about 7 GB in size. You know what? If you're picking a new game to play, why not pick this one? On the World is a post-apocalyptic meet mad scientist roguelike adventure where you're in a combat wheelchair rigged with drones, chemical traps, and all trying to survive cities full of these rogue machines and mutants. It's got base building, it's pretty smart, not busy work stuff. Get to upgrade your wheelchair, your lab, workshop, energy grinds, and just defensive outposts while scavenging whatever you find out on the battlefield. It's a pretty good roguelike type of RPG that rewards brain over brawn. Fast enough to feel tense, slow enough to plan. Good game. Oh yeah, Galaximus Dungeons is basically a endless runner meets roguelike dungeon crawl, meaning you're not only just running but also loot whatever's left behind on the pile. Everyone is different, like one wrong sip and it's back to square one at times. Controls are flexible, pixel art looks good, and there's just enough exploration to keep it interesting without overcomplicating matters. You level up, unlock new zones, and occasionally solve a quick logic puzzles on the move. Not reinventing the old genre in any way, but it actually scratches that old run, die, repeat itch almost perfectly. Guidance one is over here, just a quick mention, it's a pretty small taste of a grid-based roguelike we just heard about recently, the kind of game that refuses to kind of sit still. You move one tile, enemies move with you, and suddenly every step feels like you're playing four-dimensional chess. It's actually a little like Necro Dancer, but like with no music. It's clearly just a preview over here, but it already shows the foundations of something sharp and addictive. If you like tactical stuff, give it a go. It's about 100 megabytes in total.
I don't even know how to explain it. I'm having these disturbing visions.
Here's another quick mention since we already talked about Slender Threads before, but you might want to know this is probably one of the best niches of, cozy but also absolutely terrifying type of puzzle adventure game. It's the kind of game that looks harmless, but it slowly convinces you into something totally different. Clever, weird, funny, and just unnerving enough to make you double check around you once every while. It's got a beautiful story, creepy atmosphere, it's not a point and click, and just a pretty good point and click type of mobile game that you can play a little bit for free. And by that I mean it's got a free demo, the full game's about $5. Pretty good game if you like, atmospheric games like Oxenfree or Lost and Play. Moving on. And number whatever this is, we've got Civil War. And in case you're wondering, you're gonna see both AI cutscenes and some gameplay. But the game itself in its entirety is kind of a World War III cover shooter. You pick a gun, grab a few commanders, and hope your defense doesn't collapse on their enemies in air, land, and in the sea as well. Like I said, it's a cover shooter, but with like the addition of roguelike stuff. You can build your fort, which is one of the cool parts, even if it feels like Lego at times. And yeah, of course, it's not the deepest shooter around, but it's engaging, fast, and exactly the kind of Armageddon your lunch break needed. With that being said, at number whatever this is, we've got Angry Insects, and this game basically turns your kitchen into a battlefield, and it's exactly as comic as it sounds. Ants, flies, spiders that don't care about your house supplies. They're gonna be fighting with, salts in your kitchen, olives and toothpicks like some kind of culinary warlord, upgrading your towers and whatnot. It's a tower defense game with like bite-sized, goofy little low poly visuals and boss fights that somehow feel good even when you're defending a cutting board. It's a pretty simple game, of course, satisfying and charming. Not a game that'll change your life, but it's, pretty good for 5-minute distractions.
Street lights flicker like they playing tag.
Alright, don't let this trailer fool you, and I'm gonna tell you why. Gangsta Mafia Sandbox is basically mobile Grand Theft Auto if Grand Theft Auto didn't care about missions. It's a small open world, casual adventure game where you run around, steal whatever you want. No gangs, no enemies, just, seeing how long you can survive here. Game lets you just drive whatever you want, like a helicopter, a boat, a vehicle, or just not go on your foot. It's offline, which is nice, and the day-night cycle actually makes this city feel alive, even if it's more sandbox toy type of game than crime. If you just want a lightweight open world mist to poke around for fun, this one delivers. And last but not least, coming from the same developers of mobile Five Nights at Freddy games, we've got over here the game My Pop Goes, which is one of those weirdly addictive little games that just shouldn't work, but absolutely it does. It's a tiny little LCD style survival toy where you babysit a hyper needy little weasel who lives off pizza, soda, and look, the story is you gotta keep him fit, entertained, and conscious, because if you don't, he'll collapse, or worse. On top of that, the plastic toy retro looks is pure nostalgia. Controls are minimal, and the challenges and the minigames give it way more depth. And yeah, it's actually canon-packed with the real Pop Goes lore, characters and secrets for fans to pick apart. Definitely what a fan-first spin-off kinda should be. And not to mention, it's not a free game. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, I'll see you tomorrow.